Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome to the Douglas County Chamber's Greystone Power Luncheon. I'm John Sell with Georgia Power, and I'm your 2013 Chairman of the Chamber Board. Before we give thanks for today's delicious lunch, I'd like to offer a special thank you to Sam and Roscoe's for catering. So Roscoe, thank you very much. Now I'd like to ask our 2013 Citizen of the Year, Mr. John Stone, to come forward and lead us in our invocation and pledge.
It's good to be here today. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. At this time, let us stand. We'll have our invocation, and then we'll follow that with our pledge. Our Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless us today and bless this group that works so hard in this community to make Douglasville and Douglas County a great place to live and be a part of. It's a pleasure to be here, and we ask that you bless us and guide us and direct us, especially watch over our leaders in our country, national leaders, state, local, and city, so that our country can continue to improve and move back into the position of being a world leader and guide us and direct us in that effort. We also ask that you watch over the young men and women locally that protect us so that we can assemble freely and feel secure in our assembly. And especially watch over those young men and women that serve us and serve our country, both here at home and abroad. And a special angel's blessing to those that are in harm's way in actual combat zones so that they can return safely and be a part of our community in this wonderful country that we have here. And for everything, amen. Amen. Do our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to ask our elected officials to stand up and be recognized. We'll start over here with Janet.
Janet Kelly, Board of Education. Carol Lindstrom, Board of Education.
Louis Mitchell, District 1 Commissioner. Michael Perry, County Commissioner.
Harvey Persons, Mayor, City of Douglasville.
Tom Wortham, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you very much. Can I have our chamber board members please stand and introduce themselves? We'll start up here.
Gordon Britz, Douglas County Schools. Wayne Love with the Greystone Power Corporation.
Ray Case, the Bank of North Dakota.
Roscoe Sayos, San Roscoe's Restaurant.
Greg Williams, Kaiser Permanente.
Mike Stevens with Metro Bank.
Stacy Hamby, Douglas County Bank. Donna Crawford, Crawford Law Group. Diane Daniel, Enterprises.
Randy Whitaker, Bank of those Arts.
Thank you, board members. And chamber diplomats, Rise en Masse. Thank you very much. We're also very proud of our 2013 Chairman's Club members that join us today. I'm sure that many of you noted them on the slides prior to the luncheon, but I do want to say thank you and recognize the group, and they're sitting up, most of them are sitting up front here. And I'm also pleased to announce today that we have a new Chairman's Club member joining this group of esteemed leaders. Please welcome today's lunch sponsor and our newest Chairman's Club member, Gas South, and they'll be represented by Phil Weatherly today. Gas South's been a longtime member and supporter of the Chamber. Phil, please come forward and tell us a little bit about Gas South.
Thank you, John. My name is Phil Weatherly. It's great to be out here today. It's a great group here we have and a real good program. First, want to thank Sam and Roscoe for the lunch today. That was delicious, and we're proud to be the natural gas provider of Sam and Roscoe. We've been involved with the Douglas Chamber here for several years, 4 or 5 years, and just recently became the Chairman Club member. We're represented in that capacity by Denise Dotson. I'm not Denise. Denise wasn't able to be here today, so we're able to fill in for her. But real quickly, Gas South is a natural gas provider. We compete against other providers on the AGL distribution system, and we really consider ourselves a community energy provider by providing outstanding rates, everyday low rates, and real involved community service. And we do some nice programs with Greystone Power. We're proud to be associated with them. We've done some things with the city of Douglasville. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here today and sponsor this luncheon. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, Dr. Faye Sisk, Professor of Management with Mercer University. She joined Mercer University and has been associated with them, I believe, for about 19 years, following a very successful career in business where she focused on healthcare. She has consulted both in the U.S. and Europe in the healthcare field. Her academic research interests include quality management, corporate responsibility, and employee safety. Dr. Sisk received the Professional Achievement Award from Women Healthcare Executives of the American College of Healthcare Executives. Her doctorate is from the University of Florida, where she was a Kellogg Fellow. And at this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Faye Sisk to come forward.
Hello. Thank you very, very much for inviting me to spend some time with you, members of the Chamber. Mercer University, I've been associated with for about 19 years, has been in the Douglas community. I was actually on the faculty when the Douglas Center was built, and I've had an opportunity to educate a number of the members of this community, as well as the members of Cobb County, Fulton County, and all of the metro area. From time to time, also graduates of our program are members of the Chamber, and I think a few are. And I would like to recognize their achievement as they finish their programs in the School of Business, the Stetson School of Business at Mercer University. I'm here today to talk to you about a new subject that has gained a lot of attention. It's a new type of workplace diversity. It follows the sequences of changes of the workforce. If we don't believe the workforce has changed much in the last 20 years, all we have to do is look around the room. This astute group is very diverse. It will continue to expand and grow. And the diversity I'm talking about today is a new diversity that we've not been challenged with before. In the 60s, we dealt with the first amount of change in the workplace with the diversity along the lines of race, then gender. Then in the 80s, we brought an acknowledgement of those with physical disabilities and the contribution that they can make to the workplace. In the 90s, we began to do a lot of understanding through primarily work done by Isabel Myers and her daughter Briggs at the University of Florida, where I received my doctorate, where personalities and types and preferences really made a difference in terms of how well an individual could fit into an organization and how you could motivate and challenge those individuals to optimize shareholder investment as well as returns to the firm. In the 2000s, globalization really took place and really expanded the workforce. We saw it in academia. We saw the numbers of people coming from international companies to the United States, international students who wanted to come and contribute to our economy, and we're all aware right now of the political discussion of how we can take these best and brightest from foreign lands and make them part of our economy and grow us to be even more prosperous in the world and in terms of business. And then now we're dealing with the new challenge, the multi-generational workforce. Yes, we've always had younger people come into work, but we've never seen the kind of demographic shift that we're currently seeing in terms of who we need in the workplace and how different they are from us, the baby boomers, or the traditionalists, or even those Gen Xers, which are now called the squeeze generation. Okay, so for the first time in centuries, first time actually ever, we have 4 generations and the workplace at the same time. Now we have 20-year-old hires that are working side by side with colleagues 50 years and older, and primarily due to the new economic downturn, we have a lot of 70-year-olds in the workplace. And we had a few hands go up. That was just unheard of. You know, we were supposed to live to 65, and then if some of us lived to 65, then Medicare would kick in and keep us going for a few more years, and now they're telling us we have to work to 70. And I told my students the other day, I'm not so sure I'm going to make it, but I'm going to certainly give it the best try I can. And so we're really being challenged to stay longer and at the same time make a place for a very young, enthusiastic group of individuals who have an entirely different view of the world than those of us of former generations have. As a matter of fact, as I was fumbling up here this afternoon getting ready for this presentation, we had a very young man up here trying to help us get the technology to work. And we had the Gen Xer in between and the Gen Y on one side and the baby boomer here, all trying to get this brand new Dell computer to work, and none of us really sure what the heck we were doing. All I know is I stepped back and said, take it away, because I knew my limits as far as this presentation was concerned. So let's talk about these four generations: the World War II, the generationalists, the ones that are pride and had silence, who endured much for us and of which we have much reverence, and who are very, very loyal to the firm, to their bosses, and to the responsibilities that they take on as employees. We then have the baby boomers, those of us who came as the golden children of the World War II generation, who basically were given things that no generation before had seen and had come to expect that as part of the world of work in which we endeavor. Then we have the Generation Xers. I mentioned a minute ago, they're called the squeeze generation because they really are. They've had to kind of deal with the pomposity of the baby boomers, and then this brand new generation that's coming out that are brighter, quicker, smarter, and a lot less tolerant of us and our inability to just see it as fast as they do, the Gen Yers. And so for the first time in the workplace, we have great-grandchildren working with their grandparents and the other two generations in between. As a result, we have to look at these four generations and see what they prefer in the workforce. The reason we talk about this is there is a real business cost and a real business opportunity in order to optimize the four perspectives of these four generations to make our businesses successful and to make our communities thrive. We have to make a place for all four. And this is on top of the complexity that already exists that I mentioned before. So, who are these four generations and what are they looking for? Of course, we all know the 65 and older. We had the hand in the room a moment ago. The loyalists who stood for the flag, that, you know, their way of communication was primarily the phone and the radio. Their preferred communication style was the paper and pencil. And then they had to learn to work with a typewriter. These people look for values of authority and logic and loyalty and silence, and also the importance of order and plan and honesty. We then have the big baby boomers, the big bust generation, the 46 to 64-year-olds, the largest generation ever, and still our major consumer base, who look for community involvement, who look for self-actualization, and health and fitness has become a buzzword for them, but also want a forum and are continuously striving for more education. Then we have this squeeze generation, which are the 30 to 45-year-olds. And you'll see in a minute why I call them a squeeze. They're the latchkey kids. They're the kids who are burdened by probably the largest amount of student debt ever. They're the kids who have single mothers and divorced parents and have really learned or had to learn how to make their way in a place where they really didn't have the voice of the generation that preceded them. Their values are feedback and contribution, but independence. And in particular, the ability to the show me the money of Tom Cruise. This is the generation that just wants to know what's in them because of their concern with debt and ability to survive. The words that go along with this generation are discussion, forum, flexibility. And when you look at benefits plans and compensation plans, this is the generation that's really interested in this flexible workplace because they have to learn to balance the challenges of perhaps the single mother or the single father, along with the requirements of the job and the home. And then we have these new millennials, these Gen Ys, the ones that saw Princess Diana and saw her worldly ambitions and her love and outreach and really want to make her emblematic of what their generation stands for. They also are the kids of helicopter parents, sometimes the children of baby boomers married to Gen Xers. They're also known as the kids who have a lot of Teflon surrounding them, because I've actually experienced situations where I've had students come interview for MBA programs and brought their parents along. It's the first time ever. And it was, again, employers, I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but we're seeing this in the workplace as well, where they call up the boss to find out how their kids are doing. And again, that's because their parents are these baby boomers, primarily, who have pretty much had it their way and have pretty much called the shots and have such leverage in the market that they know they still have a strong voice. But the technology of these students is very, very different, and these new employees is very, very different. And they expect instant gratification because they have instant access to information that none of us have had in the past or previously. Self-expression, earning their respect and their creativity is what they esteem. But they want things to be relevant, fun, play and innovative, and they want us all to be their BFFs. Okay, so when we look at this, what are we looking at in terms of the generational squeeze? This is a graphic that just kind of shows you the contribution of the different generations in the workforces in the 2006, 2011, and 2020. You see the baby boomers in 2006 were the major representative. But as their numbers begin to decline, who's replacing them very quickly is the Gen Yers. By 2020, they will be the predominant, but we still expect to see baby boomers left around, Gen Yers, and then by 2020, we're going to have the 2020 workforce. So we're going to go back to the 4 of a new group, and we don't really know what they look like yet. We know they're just being born. We know that, I don't know about you, but when I go shopping, these little kids all have their own computer and their iPads. I was at Kohl's standing in line to do a return from Christmas, and this little kid must have been all of 3 years old with her iPad and her phone. And I'm saying, I just got my iPhone, and she's already in front of me. Okay. Now, what are these kids going to look like in the workplace? How are they going to challenge us? What are we going to have to do to rein them in? But right now, we have the Gen Ys that are asking us to make a difference. So why do we care? Our workforce is aging. What we've done in the past is not going to work in the future. We have an impending retirement. I heard some people were here from the utilities industry. They're having a huge issue. There's a big initiative called talent management right now. And what is that? That's to get what's in here out there before they walk out the door. Okay, so we have this big generational transfer of knowledge going on. We have this change in population demographics. And at the same time, we're now exhibiting workplace shortage. Now that may sound not really to be true in light of the unemployment data we've seen, but when you look at the jobs that require good education and a high amount of initiative, there's actually a shortage. If you saw last month's edition of Fortune magazine with the 100 top companies to work for, you'll see that they have 65,000 outstanding jobs. Because they're looking for this high talent, and this high talent is primarily these Gen Yers. Why? Because they can just see it quicker and communicate the data faster than any generation previously. So what's our business case? What are we concerned about? Retaining those baby boomers so they can, before they leave, so they can dump out all that information. So that it has a young generation that's going to be around long enough to retrieve it and to use it. We need to be able to recruit for these positions that are very necessary to keep our economy and our businesses going. And once they get in the house, they have to be productive. And the way you make them productive is you motivate them. And how do you motivate them? You communicate and use the words they want to hear in order for them to stay and do a good job for you. when employees are satisfied, customers are satisfied. And we're going to see an example, a case study of 3 companies that have learned this and understand that the key to employee satisfaction is ultimately customer satisfaction. So the millennials do outnumber the baby boomers. They have one of the fastest growing rates because they're global now. They're not just United States, they're global. So we look at areas such as India and China moving into our workforce along with the US population growth. So we see this overarching diversity complicated by age. This new group is also our new target market because they are our fastest growing consumer base. So we not only have to keep them happy at the job, we have to make sure that the products and services we are producing will make them come to our door. So we have to get the lingo. We've got to learn the language because it's not just for employees, it's also for customers. Remember those words I talked about earlier? I actually talk about in my management class in communication about using those words in marketing materials as well as recruiting materials. When you write your job description, high energy, quick moving, quick thinking individual who wants to make a difference and contribute to our workforce. Those are the kind of buzzwords that need to be in the job description. At the same time, product, innovative, meaningful, significant for savvy shoppers with little time and high value on their day. So again, using the right language that are, so to speak, the buttons. Now we've known this as marketers for years, but honestly as recruiters, we haven't spent a lot of time on that. We're having to change that thinking a bit. These individuals are very tech savvy. They are very multicultural, and they're very interested in collaboration. So what's their background? The millennials I'm talking about now, they're the bits and bytes generation. By age 21, these are some interesting statistics. They've spent 10,000 hours playing video games, 200,000 emails, 20,000 hours of television, 10,000 hours on cell phones, and 5,000 hours reading, less than. These are not readers. And of course, that's always a problem as an academic, so I've learned to do a little bit of cliff noting now as I teach, particularly the younger students. So luckily, I teach a lot of Gen Xers, so I can still use a lot of papers. But for the younger students, I do have to engage them differently. I use a lot of multimedia. We talk in bits and bytes. We use a lot more of a conversational interaction, two-way presentation, because that's how they're engaged. They want to be part of the action. And the other issue is their virtual or extensive networks. They basically want to constantly be connected. So the good news about them is they're gamers. Okay, now, you know, we've been reading all this bad stuff about gaming. Guess what? The news is actually pretty good. Because they're gamers, they can multitask. They present a high value and expertise, particularly winning. They compete to win, and they know they win through hard work and learning the skills of the games. They calculate their risks and look for return on investment. They're adapting to rapid change. The Federation of American Scientists are actually in favor of video games to teach advanced mental skills. You may or may not know this, but one of the new avenues in marketing is game advertising. And you may have realized that we've been talking about this for years. A lot of us got us into this. But you know, basically play a game to win. We're now playing games in the classroom. We do a lot of simulation. We do a lot of kind of, so to speak, find the answer. Rather than giving them the answer, we help them find the answer. Higher education is using a lot of gaming and techniques for recruiting graduate students, particularly MBA programs. Because by gaming, by giving them an opportunity to play, they feel comfortable and are engaged in what we have to present to them. The good news for us also is gaming, according to this federation, also leads to good strategic thinking, problem solving, executing plans, analyzing information, and adapting to the rapid change that is very much part of our business landscape. Here's some other things for you to ponder on as you talk about this diversity, not only in terms of age, but also some other things that are occurring. We've been talking about the 4-day work week for a long time. It really is an evolving phenomenon. Cut costs, happy workers, happy customers, better work environment. 23% of companies are now offering some type of condensed work week to their employees. Goodbye office, hello home. I know a significant number of my students work at home at least one day a week, sometimes two. They basically are in a virtual office. In Gen Y is a major workforce of Sun Microsystems. 50% of those individuals work remotely. And again, communication is the great enabler here. Technology is the great enabler, and it changes their work environment. How many of you have heard of the game called World of Warcraft? Okay, I've got a few brave souls in here. Actually, FedEx is using this game now as part of their executive management development team. It's actually a game that has 10 million fans that are part of it. And what they are using it for is they see that the quick decision making and the unpredictability of the environment in which the game occurs creates a new kind of thinking in their workforce. And by this, they're more strategic in how they make decisions, because strategy is the name of the game, particularly in intensely competitive businesses such as those logistics and supply chain that FedEx must be involved in. The other thing that's kind of sad but true is what we once called as the corporate ladder of success is becoming a bit of a thing of the past for this newer generation. It's not that we don't want to get ahead, and it's not that they don't want to climb the pyramid, but their pyramid's a little different. They want the opportunity to make a difference, to be heard, to be recognized, versus just necessarily to pay the price so that they ultimately have the tenure or the longevity to get ahead. If they aren't happy, they leave. The average number of jobs that these Gen Yers are expected to have is between 10 and 20 in their work life. Okay, that's phenomenal. Many of us in baby boomers have had at least 7. How many of you have had more than 7 jobs in your work life? Okay, you had a couple. All right. So you're going to expect to see a turnover. So what we can't count on is this loyalty and stability that we once saw in the workforce. So we have to make it where it's worth their while. They can't just wait around for 5 years to get to the next level, because they'll move. They'll go elsewhere because they can. Because they can. That's kind of like heresy to some of us that have been hanging around, earning our place. What we're seeing now is what is analogous to what we see in sports, the free agency model. We have free agents in sports. Many of these individuals actually were in sports, and they see free agency as actually something that is to be prized. They can be independent contractors to you. Particularly if the growth of one of the great job lockers of the last decade, which has been healthcare and healthcare benefits, is minimized in terms of the Obamacare legislation. This will even make more of a free agency workplace, because people don't have to stay with you to get their healthcare benefit. They're able to be agents on the market, buy it in an open marketplace, and ultimately then be able to make their decisions to optimize their future. They're also, because they can work virtually, they can live virtually anywhere. They can live in Hawaii. They can live in Colorado. They can do some of the things that we haven't been able to do in the past. And I mean, I think every day about how can I make my job better, and when can I move to Hawaii, because technology will let me do that, and I'm not even as young or as tech savvy as they are. So again, the Gen Yers are really more flexible, more mobile. They're looking for projects, and the question is, how does this affect recruitment, retaining, and rewarding these employees? Again, how we attract them is different, and I'm going to move through this quickly because of time, and I've already mentioned to you just the use of communication vehicles. Again, targeting recruitment media, and that basically makes them want to feel part of your organization, i.e., you just get it. The quote I like to use is, people resemble their times more than they resemble their parents. An old era proverb, but true. And so as we think as how to grow this new generation of workforce, we need to think about the times in which they grew up and some of the statistics that I gave you. I live with this right now. I have a daughter who's 20 years old that's Berry College. And literally, when she's home on the holidays, her room is like 3 doors down. She will text me rather than walk down the hall and talk to me. she's emblematic of what we're talking about. It's a preferred, quick, bite information, fast, and I don't have to have that FaceTime now because I know my worth and you value me because of what I can give to you, what I can communicate. And it just drives me absolutely crazy, but that's another whole thing. Okay, so then what also we see with this new generation is they're like most likely to negotiate more. They ask more, to just come right out. And so part of what you need to expect, plus they have, remember, these parents that are the Velcroed on the side, all right? They're going to negotiate with you a bit more. And you should expect that, not to be offended by it, but to understand that that's their way of seeing how they fit in your workplace. Again, important for this training. One of the things I should mention to you is if you train now with your employees and you primarily put them in traditional classroom settings, that's probably not the best way to do it. Think of new ways to engage them for training so that you're basically getting payback on your investment. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of time and money. Again, I mentioned earlier multimedia, videos, etc., ways to engage them. But the reality is, the reason we talk about this is there's some pretty good data that there is an emerging conflict. When you have 4 generations that communicate different, that have different expectations, that look at the world different, that have different experiences, it's a source of conflict in the workplace. So here again, the purpose of this, this address is just to make you aware that there are strategies. There's strategies to optimize these differences and to enhance your workplace. Because remember, you want people in your doors that think like the people outside of your doors, i.e. your customers. And the best way you can attract the customer is having an employee that understands the customers, speaks their language, and will bring them to your door. So again, understanding that there is workplace conflict that is caused by this, up to 60% of employers do report some type of conflict from this multi-generationalism. But again, this conflict also can lead to creativity and productivity. I want to talk now quickly about 3 companies that get it right. Each one of them are very different. They all have videos on YouTube. I embrace you to go look at them on your own time. Sometimes when I'm talking with groups about this, I actually go and show examples or snippets of these 3 companies. But again, they all have put on YouTube, oftentimes, pieces to recruit employees. They actually use YouTube now as a recruitment vehicle. And one of the best ones for this is Zappos. If you've ever gone, and you maybe haven't, but maybe I invite you after today, go Google Zappos and Google video and take a look at some of their media. And it's very informal, but incredibly effective because it targets customers, potential employees, and current employees in one message. Zappos, who would ever think that a company could be sold for $1 billion to Amazon and all they do is ship sneakers? Ship sneakers, that's what they do. They ship shoes. And they have a generation primarily of employees that are under 30 years old that looks like an ad agency when you walk in the door. They all dress funny and goofy. They have absolutely no respect for the workplace that we have grown to love. And they're all making money hand over fist. And what are they doing? Shipping shoes. Pardon me? A lot of shoes. They give the customer no grief. You don't like it, you turn it back. You talk to a happy person on the other phone that can Google and can quickly get up your customer information. They reach out and personalize through technology, and their turnover rate is among the lowest in the country. Why? Because they have happy horses that pull harder. And how are they happy? Because they have a workplace that's fun. And in fact, their CEO, Tony Heish, has written a book talking about the joy or the fun or the happiness of the workplace. He has a workplace institute. When Amazon bought out Zappos, they asked him to continue on as CEO because his leadership and initiative keeps their place a fun place to work. Now, if you told me that I was going to grow up to ship shoes, I don't think I would be particularly impressed with your prediction. But this is a generation of some of the best and the brightest, most of which have MBAs, who are there doing nothing except shipping shoes in a fun place to work. Okay. So, and I have actually even put up here one of the URLs for one of their many videos. And basically what they talk about are core values. They built their business on core values, and their 3 keywords are team, trust, and productivity. They are a young workforce, and again, they understand their customers as well as their employees. And this is just some data on their customers as well as the employees, and this is basically what's important to them. First of all, 80% of their employees use the internet, 65% use instant messaging, 44% go online every day, 29% keep several IM conversations going on at the same time, 29% have more than 50 buddies on their IM list, and 25% instant message when they're in the same room. Okay, that's the profile of their workplace. That's the profile of their customers. Okay, so engagement is the new buzzword. It's one of their core values. If you Google search the word engagement, you'll find over 604,000 results as a result of just that word. And it's even more important now to this, as flexibility was to the Gen X, engagement is to the Gen Y. So what are the results? Lower stress, higher job satisfaction, overall personal satisfaction. What's the benefit of an employer? Lower health costs, fewer sick days, more productivity, lower turnover, and stronger customer relationships. A win-win to the bottom line. The other second of the third, which I'll finish with here, is Scripps Health in San Diego, was honored by AARP for one of the best employers for workers over 50, was honored in Working Mother magazine, particularly for their treatment of their Gen Xers, and also in Forbes. They've totally revamped their training models. They've totally revamped their benefits models. They're very concerned with work-life balance. They do a lot of targeted mentoring so that they make sure that they target the best and brightest to work with the baby boomers that are out the door so they don't lose that institutional knowledge, and they've totally revamped their orientation. They had a tremendous problem with trust. There's an inventory called the Trust Index, and because of their revamping of their multi-generational perspective of the workforce, they've increased their trust index from 58 to 82 in 5 years. That's pretty phenomenal. The last employee I want to talk to you about is Cisco. This is one that everybody would say, oh, of course they're good because they're in high technology and techno, and of course they have a multi-general workforce. If you know anything about John Moorbridge, their CEO and their former CEO and now chair, they started that company on a bunch of credit cards and personal savings. They didn't have any angel investors come in and swoop them away. But what he did very early in the starting of Cisco is he reached out to the community and actually put a Dell network or a Cisco network and a Dell computer, they partnered, in every school, community outreach, and ultimately built and some very similar to what Apple did in higher education and with medical schools, they did with communities and the K through 12, and they built an awareness of their technology in their communities very early. But what they have constantly done is upgraded and changed their human resource practices. They understand the importance is the big picture. They understand that collaboration and engagement is the key to their success, and so they have a series of initiatives of engagement among their employees. They're very concerned with career leadership and development, but they're very cognizant of work-life integration and flexible work, and also the importance of social networking. One of the things I want to mention to you about work-life integration is we've always known this is important, but Deloitte Touche did a study and found that those companies that have poor work-life balance are also the ones that are the most likely to have fraudulent practices, and not only in terms of cooking the books, but also in terms of sabotage and pilfering in the workplace. But what I want to leave you here with is with Cisco's internal Facebook. They have a Facebook just for their employees, regardless of Facebook for their customers. And Jerry Dark, their VP of Human Resources, I've had an opportunity to hear him speak a few times and have met him. He talks about the fact that Cisco understands how important engagement is, how important flexibility is to engage different generations, and how we still need to maintain a distinctive and basically new culture. People join an organization because they see something they believe in. And again, if you believe in your employees and all 4 generations, they will believe in you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for taking time to join us today, Dr. Sisk. I'm sure that prompted many questions, so hopefully she'll stick around for a minute or two and maybe you can ask your questions. At this time, I want to take a few minutes to recognize our Young Professionals Connection Group. The Chamber's YPC is a group of young professionals ages 21 to 40 who focus on connecting with their peers, connecting with their community, and connecting with their future. I guess you've got Gen X and Gen Yers both in there. YPC hosts a variety of events ranging from the monthly Third Thursday networking events and the Politics Power Breakfast to their annual cornhole tournament and constant fundraising for the Chamber's Leadership Scholarship. For more information on joining YPC, you can see Sarah at the Chamber, or you can see Breezy Straighten, I saw her earlier, or Sach Khan, way over in the corner. Please join me in watching a brief video about YPC. And if you're not of the right age to participate, please share this information with someone in your business that could benefit from this outstanding program.
Why join YPC? The real question for me is why not?
YPC will allow you an opportunity to interact with a group of peers your own age that will assist with your personal growth and business development.
Just to mix and mingle, come together and understand what's going on in our community.
To be able to bounce ideas off each other.
We have members that are in many different genres of business.
It also allows me the opportunity to build upon my professional growth.
To connect with your peers, connect with your community, and connect with your future.
It's been an awesome experience so far. As a young professional, I think YPC offers everything that you would want. There's other business leaders and people that are just in the business world that you can gain so much knowledge from, and to be able to network and to build a relationship with them.
I was new to the business community in Douglas County, and I wanted to find a way to get to know some other folks in the area, especially the ones that were around my age as well.
YPC.
Young Professionals Connection.
It's been an awesome experience. I'm so excited to be jumping in, and I can't wait to see where this goes.
I think that probably fits our bits and bytes. We did that well, okay. The top 10 young professionals of 2012 this is 13, is an award recognition for those young professionals who stand out and are professional leaders in their industries and servant leaders in Douglasville and Douglas County. The competition this year was very tough. We had more than 30 applications, and just a few points separated our leaders across the board. I'm proud to mention that this year's leaders are all either currently enrolled or are alumni of the Leadership Douglas program. If that isn't reason enough for young professionals to go through LD, I don't know what is. Now we're going to go on to our awards. And the awards, we're going to show them up on the screen, and that's where the real accomplishments are. I do a thing where we do the David Letterman top 10 list, so I have a little bit of fun with it. But also on your table, you'll have a program and a list of the accomplishments of all of our top 10. At this time, Ashley Marlowe has already come forward. The Sentinel is a partner, the Douglas County Sentinel is a partner with the Chamber on this award, so she's going to help me hand out these awards. So in reverse alphabetical order, here are the top 10 reasons for the selection of our top 10 young professionals. Okay. First one. If we name him a top 10 young professional, he'll become even more popular with the Georgia Economic Development Department and bring even more jobs to Douglas County. Chris Pumphrey, Douglas County Economic Development Department. Stand in the middle. Put you in the middle. There you go. Great. Number 9, because vampire movies are still extremely popular, and anybody that asks for this much blood is either a vampire or dating one, April Phillips, American Red Cross. Good.
Yes.
Okay. Number 8, because I personally have a permit pending at the city and need a little inside help, Jeff Knowles, City of Douglasville. Okay. Number, we missed one. Okay. Number 6, I had a very good joke planned, but because Dusty is not here, he's down at the legislature, so I'm just going to announce his name. And Heather, with the Office of Hightower Miller and Hightower Attorneys at Law, is going to come up and get the award for Dusty. He's downtown trying to make legislation or do something. I don't know. Because she screams really loud on zip lines, and because she's a member of my class in Leadership Douglas 11, the best class ever, Kizzy Howell, City of Douglasville. Okay, next. Because her company cleans my house and also Callie's house, and we didn't want her to use, anybody to use a toilet brush to clean the shower or a toothbrush to clean the toilet, Diane Daniels Enterprises. And she is a member of the most amazing class, this year's class of Leadership Douglas 13. Number 4, because she has a PhD, which means she's smarter than most of us, Danita Cullen, Douglas County Schools. Number 3, because she has her own TV show, so she can say bad things about us if we're not nice to her, and even though it's only on government channel, Jamie Bennett. Number 2, because some people think he's a Tony Stewart lookalike, because his company's saving the city a lot of money on insurance, and he's another member of the most amazing class ever, Leadership Douglas 13, Jason Anavitarte, Kaiser Permanente. Number 1, who's not able to be with us today because he's got a sick child and he himself became sick. But we want to make sure that he didn't live up to his name as Chris the Hacker and hack into the computer system. And he is yet another, say it with me, member of the most amazing class ever, Chris Hacker of Metro Bank. And Kim, will you please come up and get his award? Send it to Howard. We'll Photoshop it. Thank you, Ashley. At this time, Phil, if you want to come forward, we'll do door prizes. We do appreciate everyone coming today, and thank you so much for learning about different generations in the workplace. And as you can see from our top 10 young professionals, we've got a lot of great talent that will be leading our community in the very near future. Okay, we have a gas out goodie bag. The number is 697346. Going once, 346. Okay, another goodie bag, 697380. And the last goodie bag, and this one has an umbrella in case it's raining on the way out, 697316. Just a couple of quick reminders before we get out of here. You might have noticed that several of us have these Keep Calm and Shop Local t-shirts on. You'll also have flyers at your table. And there's a contest going on through PowerPoint. You yourself can win one of these stylish t-shirts. Chambers Partners, Douglas County Sentinel, Douglas County Government, City of Douglasville, and the Douglasville Main Street program to present the Keep Calm Shop Local program. Keep your eyes out for upcoming events and contests. And if your business is interested in posting a sign or participating, you can either see Ashley, who was up here a minute ago, or Sarah Ray at the Chamber. And there's also tonight, there's a business networking event at the courthouse from 5 to 6 p.m. where you can win prizes and celebrate Fat Tuesday. I understand the Tom serving hurricanes. I think I'm joking about that part. As you heard us mention, Leadership Douglas is a great program. We are accepting Leadership Douglas applications for the 2014 class. They're due by March 15th. If you have any questions or you want to learn more about participating, you can see Callie, you can see myself, or any number of people that are in the Leadership Douglas program. They'll be happy to help you. We want to thank again the City of Douglasville for the use of the Conference Center. Sam and Roscoe, once again, thanks for the great lunch. Scott South, thank you so much for sponsoring today's luncheon. And as always, we thank Greystone Power for the naming sponsorship. Thanks everybody for attending, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday, February 28th for the AT&T Business After Hours, and that will be in Chapel Hill Golf and Country Club. Have a great day, and thank you for coming.